straighten up. Martin Power and Doreen stay in it. Oh, it's close. It's a photo in the Melbourne Cup.
From the quality of Derby Day to the sheer excitement of the Cup, we're back at Flemington on a perfect Thursday for the elegance of Oaks Day. Good morning everyone, and wherever you're watching around Australia, welcome to Network 10's live and exclusive coverage of the third day of the VRC Spring Carnival. Yes, we're still getting over the pure adrenaline of that epic battle between Might and Power and Doremus here on Tuesday. But now it's time to look forward to Ladies' Day, both on and off the track.
Coming back to scale. What a great finish. That is one of the great finishes in Melbourne Cup history.
Champagne racing. You might think we've already witnessed it this week, but the phrase was coined with one special meeting in mind. Oaks Day, the day of fashion and fun, of style and grace. Champers Day, the day when we come down from the Melbourne Cup clouds and crowds ever so slightly, but continue the party with a fresh focus. That focus, as always this day, is on the fillies. 4 legs and 2 legs. The VRC Oaks was first run in 1861, the same year they first ran the Melbourne Cup. And it was about 100 years ago that one smart administrator decided to promote the classic race for 3-year-old fillies as a day for the ladies. It wasn't that he was ahead of his time, just that he figured that if the ladies were tempted to the track, then men would surely follow. And we have to agree, he was spot on. The Crown Oaks, as it's now known, has produced some outstanding stars on the lawns and some beauties on the track, like the 1994 winner, Northwood Plume.
Northwood Plume in front, Wild Thunder, they won't get to her. And Northwood Plume, a very pretty right, Damien Oliver, and a very classy filly.
She was trained by Lee Friedman, who last Saturday produced Kensington Palace to win the renowned Oaks trial, the Wakeful Stakes. And have a look at the way New Zealander Kilmore Key got home.
Spirit only a lady, and then Kilmore.
Will she give Johnny Wheeler his first win in the Classic? Then there's Lady of the Pines, who missed the Wakeful but won the 1,000 guineas at her last appearance 3 weeks ago.
Speed, Lady of the Pines on the outside, put her head in front of Rose of Danehill, close to home. Lady of the Pines.
One thing is for sure, no matter who wins, Oaks Day, Ladies' Day, will never be out of fashion.
And it is a fantastic day of racing, all beginning at 5 minutes after 12 with the neat and trim uniform stakes, and then we go through to the Emirates Classic at 1:25, through to the race for the Greys, the Maya Plate, and then the big one, the Crown Oaks at 2:45, the Cadbury Roses, the Sutcliffe and the Women's Day Cup complete the program here at Flemington on the third day of the carnival. And doesn't Flemington Racecourse look a picture, as she did on Tuesday, but today it is just one out of the box, and the ladies are arriving. The gentlemen will no doubt follow. It's going to be a warm one. Blue skies and a perfect track for racing, and we'll check out all of that in just a moment. In fact, we can check out the weather conditions right now, because down on the members' lawn, admiring, no doubt, Flemington Racecourse and the people who are currently occupying it, is Tim Bailey. Good morning to you.
Good morning, PD. Just a lonely little fellow down here with a sea of ladies. I think you got it right, Pete. It's a day of elegance and fashion. It is going to be absolutely magnificent. Flemington in fabulous form. The weather, well, what we've got for you, 27 degrees, fine and absolutely sunny. It is stunning down here on the members' lawn. There is colour, there is character. Good morning, ladies. And it started very early, Peter. I've got to say to this, I'm going to have trouble focusing and concentrating today, Pete. The view is spectacular. We are going to have some fun. The ladies are already doing that. Have a great day. I'm sure going to.
Thank you, Tim. Yes, I'm sure you are down on the members' lawn. Tim Bailey, who'll be joining us right throughout the day. Well, we have round about 3 hours and 40 minutes left before the running of the big one today, the Crown Oaks. The all-important track condition, well, it's raced quite differently from Saturday to Tuesday. The rail is actually in a different position today to tell us all about the condition of the track. Let's go down there now and say a very good morning to Dan Malicki and Gary Willits. And I believe, gentlemen, you're playing with your penetrometer down there, and I mean that in the nicest possible way.
Thank you, Pete. Good morning to you and ladies and gentlemen. The track is officially rated as good, and the rail is out 5 metres for the entire circumference today, the perfect circuit today. Gary Willits has a special guest, the racecourse manager, Ross Bradfield.
Thank you very much, Danny, and good morning, everyone. Well, Ross, I'd like to congratulate you and your staff on the way this track has been presented today. It's got a beautiful solar grass on it. And we've got the pentometer here. I've never seen it. I have so many people ask me what it does. Could you just explain quickly a little bit about it for us?
Well, firstly, Gary, thank you very much for the compliment. I must say I'm very pleased with the way the track has been performing, and I'm sure it will provide excellent racing for today. To get onto the penetrometer, it is a measurement of the hardness or softness of the turf, and it's in brief, it's the distance that a square centimetre rod, and you'll see here in the inner tube is a square centimetre graduated, and it's the distance that that is driven into the ground by 1 kilo weight travelling a distance of 1 metre. Now, Gary, we do about 119 readings around the track.
Right.
And
so you get an average, is that?
It's an average, and it would be dangerous for us to pick a small section of track, try and produce a reading, because it may produce an aberration.
Yes, and I notice you've got a light on here. What's the light for?
Well, we work in all sorts of times and weathers, and we do this reading normally at about 5:30 in the morning.
Right.
And in the winter it's dark, so we have to have a little torch to be able to read the calibrations.
Well, would you like to demonstrate the penetrometer working for us, and
Yeah,
so
sure.
that people can see it at home?
Okay.
So there we have it. The penetrometer's been dropped, and I'll just get Ross to give a reading just here.
Well, that reading there is 2.95, and we have 3 drops in each location, and it progressively gets driven into the ground, and there's a formula later on for producing an average, Gary.
And I noticed today we've got a northerly wind blowing. That'll most probably dry the track out a little bit more, will it? Did you have to put any water on it yesterday, or?
Yes, it will certainly dry the track out, Gary, and we did put 5 millimetres of irrigation water on yesterday, and we had a heavy dew this morning, which has helped us.
Right.
So I think it'll race very well
Yes,
today.
this track should be perfect today, and as I say, you know, you can just pick your fancies out and back them today, because there'll be no excuses on a track that's presented like this, I can tell you. It's like if you had a lawn like this at home, you'd be very happy, I can tell you. Well, there you go, Dan. I'll hand it back to you.
Okay, and just repeating the track good. The official penetrometer reading is 4.09 for the whole track. So, Pete, it's the perfect racetrack, and well done to the VRC and Ross Bradfield and his staff. It is in A1 condition, this course.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, everything looks as though it is perfect for today's big Crown Oaks meeting. Well, it's time now to introduce the panel, who have just been absolutely spellbound by what has just gone on. Jenny Chapman, Richard Friedman, John Letts.
Hello,
bonjour.
Pete. Bonjour, Pierre. Morning. Bonjour, Pierre.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
You're looking well, Jen, and I think you're probably still recovering from the Cup, because it was one of the great Cups of all time.
Oh, it was a fantastic day. No doubt about it. And the sun came out at the right time, and I think the best horse won.
Rich, the disappointment must have been incredible. We were watching the replay before. It still looks like he's won Doremus.
He's won. I'm telling you, I've looked at it 20 times. He won. They've moved the line or something, because there's no way you can get that close and not win.
Is that the worst feeling, though, thinking you've won and having it taken off you?
When I walked out and saw the monitor and looked at the horse, the other horse had obviously won the race, just that sinking feeling. It's terrible.
Let's see, you were on the spot to see the elation of Greg Hall turn into disappointment, and then the opposite for Jimmy Cassidy.
It was a strange feeling, Pete, because I think it's been one of the hardest Melbourne Cups that I've had to witness, as far as that is. When Greg came past, he was waving the whip in the air, and he said, "What do I think?" And I'd heard Danny call the race, and Danny said that Doremus had lunged, and he said, I think Doremus, and I said, well, he said, "What did Danny think?" He said, I said, "Well, I think Danny thinks you won." And Greg went on, and within 2 or 3 seconds, Danny had said number 3, and Jimmy didn't know he'd won. I went up, I had to tell Jimmy he'd won the Cup.
And what did he say?
He said, "I love you." But we didn't get that on camera, and he put his arms around me, so, you know, it's a bit frightening.
Well, thank goodness for that, because there's enough rumours going around as it is without that sort of thing being on television.
Is Frankie back in town?
No, Frankie's gone, actually.
Is he? Oh, what a shame.
Someone's got a broken heart on the panel, and guess who it is?
Richard, yes.
That was Tuesday. This is Thursday. It's Crown Oaks Day. Let's have a look at the scratchings for today's program at this beautiful racetrack. The first event is the Neat and Trim Stakes at 5 minutes after 12. You can take out 5 Choose the Blues, 6 Corona Star and 12 Platinum Lady, leaving a field of 13. Race 2, the Moet and Chandon Stakes at 12:45. Number 1 Belle Reeve, 6 Exalted Miss and 13 Baby Boomer come out, and that leaves a field of 16. Third race is the Emirates Plate, and there are no scratchings. Race 4 is also clear, the Maya Plate, and so too is the Crown Oaks Race 5. Onto the Cadbury Roses Stakes, Race 6 at 3:25, and number 15 Opaque is staying at home today, probably watching our telecast. Race 7, the Sutcliffe Stakes at 5 minutes after 4. Withdrawals are number 5 Exponential, along with number 14 Vedray, 15 Desert Light, and 19 Ravi, a field of 15. And from the final event this afternoon, the Women's Day Cup at 4:45, there is one scratching, and that is number 16, Straight Star. Now, the Oaks Totes, that's coming up this afternoon at 2:45. Lady of the Pines in the betting. Kensington Palace has opened up pretty good odds, really. She'll trim up from that quote, no doubt about it. $3.20. Others in the betting, number 6, Kilmore Key, and also number 8, Regal Sachet, trained by Bart Cummings. Over the page we go to the other runners, and Zacheline, trained by Gay Waterhouse, is also in the betting, and the rest of them are pretty big odds. But the favourite Kensington Palace still at reasonable odds here for race 5 at 2:45 this afternoon. Well, as I said, we have a perfect day. It was a great day for Melbourne Cup Day, one of the biggest plunges ever seen in Melbourne Cup history. The man who is watching that and the man who will be keeping an eye on the betting today is down in the betting ring. Tim Gossage, as I say, good morning to you. It must have been a frantic scene down there on Tuesday.
Peter, to see the looks of jubilation on the faces of the punters who backed Might and Power and the looks of despair on the bookies who simply got cleaned out was something I'll remember for a long time. $5.25 million taken out of the bookies' bags here at Flemington on Tuesday. Along here, the rails bookmakers, 7 of them lost a total of $3.5 million alone. They were on their knees on Tuesday. Today, they're standing on their stands, albeit with wonky knees. They're not really looking forward to the Oaks. They're waiting for the Friedman brothers to come charging with Kensington Palace.
We'll see if they do a bit later in the day. Tim Gossage, who'll be in the betting ring right throughout the afternoon here at Flemington. We're going to take a break now. When we rejoin you, we'll go back in time and relive the 1997 Foster's Melbourne Cup.
Jeannie completed a clean sweep of the Fillies Classics when she won the Oaks in '79. She started a 2-to-1 favourite and was trained by Jeff Murphy.
Brava Jeannie wins the Oaks Stakes by 5 lengths. Great battle for second and third between Delma J and Crown Queen.
Trainer Neville Begg had a great reputation for fillies and mares. His filly November Rain, after a perfect ride by Ron Quinton, was successful in 1980.
And November Rain is going to win the Oaks Stakes by 1.25. Second, Deck the Hall's a length away.
The great Roy Higgins rode his 5th Oaks winner when Rose of Kingston won the Oaks in '81. She was one of few fillies in modern times to have also run in the Derby. She ran 5th on the previous Saturday.
And Rose of Kingston comes down to win the Oaks by 2 lengths, Queen's Road.
Not only were Pat Hyland and Jim Maloney friends, they were also a dynamite combination. In 1982, Hyland rode a masterful race in a roughhouse affair to boot home 5-to-1 chance Rom Stiletto.
Rom Stiletto, homemade Rom Stiletto. Rom Stiletto by Gospel homemade.
Some memories of Oaks Stakes gone by today. Will the Friedman stable win their 2nd Oaks, or will Bart Cummings win his 8th, or will it be an upset? We'll find out at 2:45 this afternoon. Well, it's time to turn the clock back to that magical moment on Tuesday afternoon when 22 runners filled the stalls and the nation came to a standstill to watch the Foster's Melbourne Cup of 1997. And here was the scene. Now watch linesman in the white cap. He'll miss the start, and this was a decisive moment for him as the gates clanged back and the roar went up from the crowd, and really linesman missing the start probably ended his chances, Jen, because he had to ride him hard, got up outside the leader, but he had to work too hard to get there.
Yes, well, Peter, he's a terrific stayer. He likes to get along in front, and if he can have his own way in front, that's when he races best. But by no means disgraced in the Melbourne Cup. It was a mighty effort.
Rich, were you surprised to see Might and Power leading? Did you think that Crying Game would probably take over from him?
Well, I did think that something would serve it up to him. I was very surprised at the leisurely pace that Might and Power was allowed to go in the race. I thought there might be someone to take him on, but as you can see here, they're just bowling along on the bit.
Marble Halls has got a beautiful spot here behind the leader on the fence. You must have been pretty happy with that.
Well, we were very happy in the position that he landed in when they settled down, but a little further on in the race, and I think you'll bring people's attention to it, there are some people down on the running rail, and they stirred him right up at the 1800-metre mark, and that was the end of him.
We will have a look at that. There's the aerial view as they turn out of the straight, and Jimmy Cassidy would have been a pretty happy boy at this stage. Let's see, I think.
I think Jimmy went out with a plan to lead on this horse, Peter. I think that was his plan before they said go. think the night before he would have been having a few restless hours, thinking if Crying Game, a horse that's nearly going to, you can say, was nearly going to run last anyway, was going to cost him a Melbourne Cup. But Jimmy's very happy there. Horse is bowling along beautifully. I would say Jimmy's very happy.
You'll see just coming up behind Might and Power in the blinkers. Not that particular horse, but just behind him, I guess the shuttle can't see.
Now, there's the people that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, those people got so close, and we'll see a shot here in a minute in the background. There you see how close they got, and that really stirred a couple of horses up. Jimmy was just able to roll off the rail a little bit on Might and Power. Now, Arabian Story, Jen, he was the interesting one. He went out of the straight, one off the rail, finished up 5 deep along the riverside.
Yes, he was very wide the entire way. In fact, both the imported horses, Harbour Dews and Arabian Story, put up pretty good performances. Harbour Dews was running on very strongly towards the end. He covered a bit of ground. He was about 3 wide the entire way. Didn't have a great deal of luck either.
Bart's their Grand Master over on the inside about midfield, travelling well. And there's the view from up above. And when we have a close look at Might and Power and Crying Game on his outside, you'll see a tremendous contrast here. Jimmy Cassidy is riding Might and Power really on a piece of cotton, whereas the rider of Crying Game really was getting into the horse, asking him to stay in touch. He couldn't do it, and linesman goes around the outside. Rich, they queued up to have a crack at him, and yet
nothing could go with him. You can see he's still just travelling along, and Jimmy's starting to urge him now, and the other horses are really under some severe pressure.
Marble Hall's really ridden along behind the leader, and you can see these 2 leaders getting away 3 and 4 lengths in front as they come around the home turn. And then Jimmy Cassidy would have looked up and seen 450 metres in front of him, and probably thought it looked like about 3 kilometres, let's see, at that stage.
He would have, and you've got to give credit to this horse. He beat him off, and he just went all the way to the line, and he is a very, very good horse.
Remus just starting to claim linesman.
You have a look at the horse in this called the horse that ran 4th. Oh, this horse should have nearly won the race.
At this stage, I thought we were going to pick Might and Power up. I thought for sure that the Remus, with his strong finish, I could see Might and Power starting to weaken, and with the last lunge, I thought we got him, and I reckon we had him here and just missed it on the line.
So there it was, one of the closest finishes in Melbourne Cup history. Certainly one of the most deceptive. Greg Hall thought he'd won, but then when the photo came up, and it came up within seconds on Network 10, we saw that Might and Power on the inside had lasted to win by one of the barest margins in Melbourne Cup history, and all of a sudden Greg Hall's disappointment, or elation, turned to disappointment, and Jim Cassidy turned from disappointment in perhaps thinking he'd been beaten to winning the Melbourne Cup. Well, we don't have to surmise about that. We can ask him, because I'm happy to say that the Melbourne Cup winning jockey Jim Cassidy has joined us. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you very much.
Has it sunk in yet?
Yeah, feet come back on the ground. It's Oaks Day today, and you know, I've got to focus about my rides today, and I'll do plenty of celebrating when I get home after the carnival, I think.
Did you think you'd been beaten?
Well, I wasn't sure. I knew my bloke, like, he was giving his best, and I deliberately, probably the last 6 or 7 strides, hit him up the shoulder to get him to put his head out, and it's a thing I always do in desperate finishes, and I really wasn't sure. I looked across and seen Hawley go up, and I thought, oh no, I've done all the donkey work, and he's got me the last hop, you know. Yeah. But then I looked across at Letzi when we were pulling up, and G was going off, and I said, what number they put in the frame? He said 3. I said, you beauty.
I could have sung something, idiot. It's sinking in.
Well, I was very quiet compared to the Caulfield Cup, but it was a different margin. I was 7 in front, and I was home for the rent in the Caulfield Cup, 600 from home, but it was a bit different in the big one Tuesday.
Were you surprised how easily you led, and how few horses actually took you on early in the race?
Well, you know, they all talked about taking me on, but what were they going to do? They were going to get probably the 5 or even the halfway mark and have heart attacks. I mean to say...
That's what we were hoping.
Yeah, well, you were hoping. Everyone was hoping that. But, you know, as far as I was concerned, I went out there with the frame of mind to lead and to get him to relax, exactly as I said in the Caulfield Cup. And
he did that, didn't he?
He did that. You know, I got up over his neck, probably 5 from home. I went from squatting, holding him to up over his neck because he relaxed beautiful. And actually, once I went past them people about the 1700, he half balked at them, and then he actually switched off, which I was quite pleased. So he could have gone the other way and fired him up.
Jim, linesman taking you on, when he came up towards you, how was your horse travelling then?
I was always going nice. Larry started to roar a bit at his mount to get him rolling, and then I was still hanging on going woo, 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 and so I was still happy then, Jen.
Jimmy, this horse gives me the impression that you could bring him back in a month's time and win a mile race on him.
No risk. Like, I think you could freshen him up, do nothing with him, and come out and win a 7, let's see. That's how good I think he is.
I made the statement that I think from the word go that your plans were to lead, and that horse, he ran terrific time all the way, and Richard said, did something want to take you on? But look, if anything had to take you on, it would have had to work too hard, because you were going at a lovely speed where no one was going to worry you, and you weren't going too slow that someone would have a go. You weren't going too fast that you were going to come back. You rated it perfectly. The time was magnificent for the race, and it just worked. Everything worked to plan, didn't it?
Well, the thing that I was confident about going into the race, I said to Jack in the mountain yard, he said, what are you going to do? And I said, I know our horses, boss, they can go 13 and after the furlong all day. They don't lay down. And if you ride might and power, any of our horses in that way, you're always going to be hard to beat. Yeah, for sure.
Jimmy, it's an amazing sport, isn't it, the sport of kings? A couple of years ago, you were, you know, really probably in the worst position in your life. And now, all of a sudden, you've ridden the Caulfield Cup winner, you've ridden the Melbourne Cup winner, and you are absolutely at the top of the tree.
Yeah, well, racing's a funny game. It's, you know, I'm a great believer it's easy to get there, to try and stay there. That's when it sorts the men out from the boys.
Did you notice that people were dropping off in the hard times? And have they come back now, or have they tried to come back?
Well, I switched my mobile off on Saturday, actually, because I didn't want all the good lucks and bad lucks coming in. And believe it or not, I've had, I reckon I must have had 100 phone calls on the message bank, and it's taken me a day to answer them all. But the people that stick are always there. The acquaintances come and go.
You've ridden 2 Melbourne Cup winners now, Kiwi and Might and Power. Which is the better one?
Well, I think they're both very much similar, and they've both given me the great thrill for different reasons. One was for Snow and Anne. They were late in their career of training, and they weren't the big name trainers as Denhams or Cummingses or Friedmans. So that gave me a great thrill to win that cup for them, and the way he done it from last to first. Yeah. But to win this one for Jack, he just got beat with Naxky. He loves his horses. All he does is work, sleep and eat horses. So his support since I've been back, and to win it for him, you know, there's words of retirement and maybe Jack Allen training Yippee-I-O or Might and Power next year. At least I'll put the icing on the cake for him.
Jimmy, I've been privileged to see a lot of Melbourne Cups, but this scene that we're looking at now is one that won't leave my mind for a long time. To watch that great horse challenged by another great horse in front of 94,000 people as the nation was stopped is a memory that I'll carry with me for a long time, and I'm sure you won't be forgetting about it in a hurry.
No, and I think the great thing about it, the Melbourne Cup, the Caulfield Cup form has stood up with Might and Power, even though he's beat Dorema 7 lengths, but he's made up probably 15 lengths in the Caulfield Cup to get beat 7.
Yeah.
And he's come, you know, he's come back, and you know, great training effort, Lee and the boys, and you know, unfortunately there can only be one winner. Might we be seeing you in the winner's circle on Zashaline after the Oaks today? Well, I was sitting down last night going through the form. I think I've had 7 rides in the Oaks and I've won 4, so if I can make it 5 out of 8, I'll be happy. We appreciate your time. You've been terrific with the media over the carnival, and congratulations again on being at the top of the tree, as I said. Yeah, lovely. I'd just like to thank Channel 10 and all the other media. They've been supportive, and you know, that's what racing's all about. Good on you, Jimmy. Jimmy Cassidy, the Melbourne Cup winning jockey, joining us on the panel this morning after that great win aboard Might and Power. Well, as I said, he might be in the winner's circle in the Oaks with Zashaline a little bit later on, but if you'd rather go on something else rather than form, perhaps Milton Black might be able to help you to find a winner.
Aries, big gains can be made if you stick to 2nd and 3rd favourites today and chase horses with names suggesting travel, friends and unusual names. Lucky numbers 3, 4 and 8. Taurus, you'll be celebrating and dancing in the streets tonight if you stick to horses with names suggesting approval, urgency and excitement. Lucky numbers 1, 2 and 4. Gemini, keep your mind on the job when you decide to back a horse. You may be changeable. Follow horses with names suggesting exaggeration, celebrities and experience. Lucky numbers 1, 3 and 4. Cancer, plan a holiday away with your winnings today. Just follow horses with names suggesting water, food and satisfaction. Lucky numbers 2, 3 and 4.
Tonight,
A massive betting plunge backfired on Mapley Heights in the 83 Oaks. The filly was defeated in a photo finish by the Cummings-trained Taj Eclipse. The win gave Glamour apprentice D. Gauchi his first feature race win.
Heights, Taj Eclipse the outside, did best to win the Oaks from Mapley Heights.
Network 10's Gary Willits has fond memories of Oaks Day 84. Gary booted home 5-1 chance Spirit of Kingston in the Fillies Classic. The trainer-owner combination of Hoisted and Haynes had previously won the race in 1981.
And Spirit of Kingston wins the Oaks Stakes by a length and a quarter. Owl of Feet got second.
After arriving only on the Saturday before the race, New Zealander My Tristram's Bell outstayed the locals in the Oaks of 85. Ridden perfectly by Noel Harris, the filly was owned by Ivan Allen, the leading trainer in Hong Kong.
Only arrived in Australia the other day and wins the Oaks.
The old saying that good things come in small packages was proven correct in 1986 when tiny filly Diamond Shower proved a class above her rivals, winning by 2.5 lengths. It was another major victory for the all-conquering Mayfield-Smith-Cassidy combination.
They won the Derby last year, Mayfield, Smith and Cassidy. Today it's the Oaks. Diamond Shower.
Live around Australia on Network 10, you're watching the coverage of the third day of the VRC Spring Carnival, a day of elegance. The ladies looking absolutely stunning today, and none lovelier than our very own Lynn Talbot, who's on the members' lawn. Morning, Linny.
Morning. How are you, Pete?
Very well, thank you.
Oh, we're having a great time down here looking at the fashions. Melbourne has long established itself as Australia's fashion capital, and it's not just our focus on fashion during this amazing week, it's all year round, and we've got the artistic director, Robert Buckingham, of one of the big events of the year, the Melbourne Fashion Festival, which begins in February. No doubt you've been doing a bit of research, have you, out here today?
Doing a lot of research, Lynn, and having a look at what everyone's wearing. And what's exciting is, I suppose, the level of interest and the effort that everyone puts into a day like today.
Now tell us about this festival, because it's not just a series of parades, is it?
No, the new Woolmark Melbourne Fashion Festival is in February, so it's the third week in February, and basically what it does is showcase the Australian fashion industry. It launches the autumn-winter season, but it also is an event where we have a number of international visitors, international designers, international models, and everyone who's involved in the industry.
And some great exhibitions, which brings me to Jenny Bannister, who... Now tell us about your exhibition.
I'm actually having my retrospective. I've been in fashion now in Melbourne for 22 years, and we'll be having a show curated by the National Gallery of Victoria of my archives dating from probably 1976 until now.
Gee, great outfit.
Thank you very
Look forward to the rest of the day, and certainly look forward to the Melbourne Fashion Festival. Peter Donegan, you are a fashion enthusiast both on and off the racecourse, so no doubt you look forward to it too.
I will, Lynn. I am unfortunately going to have to concentrate a bit more on the horses today, but I'm sure I'll manage to cram in a look at some of the fashions, because Oaks Day every year just gets bigger and bigger. Thanks to Lynn Talbot out on the members' lawn. Well, of course, the Oaks...